You're
good.
I'd like to call the Parks and Recreation Committee to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Clark.
Here.
Isker.
Here.
Kern.
Here.
Hope Serraro is absent and excused. Pedro is not online.
He's not online yet. I'll let you know if he joins.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to take a motion to approve the minutes. Previous meeting on January 26th.
I so move.
Are you
Motion
second?
by Clark,
Second it.
second by Easter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passed. Public comment.
Yeah, just a couple quick things. It's Lisa Beck, 1808 Cortez Lane. Just wondering a little bit on the Kennedy Park agreement. I know it said initially a 10-year agreement is what we were looking for, but because so much is new over there, I'm wondering if it would make a little more sense just to do like a 1-year agreement, see how things work out, and then from there on do a 10-year agreement. I also am looking for a little bit more information on the mower. It sounds like we need to take a look at purchasing a new one. I know it's in the budget, I think, for every 10 years. So do we currently have some issues with our current mower, or are we replacing it just because it's at the 10-year mark? And then lastly, I think there was a note in there about an Eagle Scout project, and I think that's a great idea. Anytime we get community support or help with projects, I think it would be great. So I'd be all in favor of putting out some money to get that project moved along. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Written comments. We did receive one email. Please include this email as a written comment for the record. Monday, February 23rd, 2026. All right. Educational presentation and reports and unfinished business. Number 7. Discussion and/or possible action on the park shelter fees and field rental costs.
So based on our discussion at the January meeting, I had lots of information there from multiple communities, and it was hard to look at and confusing what you're looking at. So, and the other part that was brought up was, should we have different prices for different facilities that have different amenities provided? So in the RFC, I listed the shelters separately, and basically the large amenities that we provide at those. So like Yellowbanks, 2 shelters, there's no water, portable restrooms, electricity, playgrounds, and a volleyball court. There's no playing fields there, so it's different. The bulk of the rest of them are, water, restrooms, electricity, playground, and either a baseball field or a volleyball court. And then Kennedy, of course, you have multiple fields, and you have the aquatic center, which is an amenity that's usable by obviously park users from typically June through August. So, so the shelter fees, our current ones are on the bottom. So we do have a standard security deposit, business security deposit, and then family group resident 60, family group non-resident 85. And we have nonprofit resident, business non-resident fees. And as you see, I went through WASA's, included theirs, that'd be Weston Marathon County, open shelters, non-commercial. They have a commercial and non-commercial fee. They don't break it down in resident, non-resident. Like ours is broken down for nonprofits and then for-profits. So Rothschild, they have a resident nonprofit and a non-resident nonprofit and resident business prices. So the ones that are most similar would be Merrill and Wassa, Rothschild. I didn't pull George Street and River Street because they offer more amenities. They have a kitchen, serving counters. So their prices are higher for those. I only included, Gasca Park because that one is similar as far as what it offers. Small shelter area, bathrooms, playground, volleyball court, baseball field. So I didn't include all of Rothschild's prices. I just included the ones for one of their shelters, so.
So currently, we're sitting at $60 a. plus
60
tax.
per, yeah, and that would be
Per family.
that would be our highest users, family, resident and non-resident.
Yeah,
We don't see a ton of nonprofits and we don't see a lot of business rentals.
I didn't look at, are we? That seems like right in line, right now, that seems in line with the other.
It does seem pretty close, yes. Yes, yes. After looking at it,
With
you can
Wassa,
see all of them.
yeah, yeah,
They look similar. The only other thing that we thought about, like we discussed, was maybe Yellow Bank would be lower because it doesn't have the running water, it doesn't have the restrooms. Still,
Right.
you know, and there's two shelters there. It should be a lower fee. That's why it was talked about. Should we charge different for different
Amenities.
parks? Yeah. So the rest of them are pretty similar as far as the amenities provided. And obviously you can pick and choose which one you want. So if you want one of the baseball fields, you would go to Mockmiller or Robinwood or Kennedy. If you didn't need the baseball field, just want an open play area, you'd do Sand Hill or Kellyland,
right.
you know? Because we actually have people that in particular want Kellyland because the dog park's there,
Sure.
you know, so, but like, you see what I see. I looked at it and I'm like, we're pretty close to in line. The only thing that would be, I guess, reasonable is if, say, we dropped Yellow Banks to 50 because we don't provide water or restrooms. You know, we provide portable restrooms. And we do have two shelters there.
Sean, have you seen any difference in rentals at Yellow Bank since we got rid of those bathrooms so many years ago?
I don't think so. I mean, because those restrooms are probably worse than portable restrooms.
I would agree.
I mean, it was a pit toilet and it was there since the 60s. So it was definitely,
It was bad.
yeah. So we haven't seen it. I mean, I think we would have more rentals there due to the river, you know, picturesque, the river's right there, right alongside it. But without providing utilities, I don't foresee that happening where it would increase the usage. I mean, we may see some kayak groups getting together now. I don't know if they'll rent the shelter, but this definitely should be a gathering spot for kayakers and canoeists to, you know, we have the parking and the launch there.
The only real difference that I see is they're a little bit, the other communities are a little higher on their non-resident pricing, but. And yeah, we could probably, I don't know what everyone else thinks, we probably could lower the price at Yellow Banks because of the restrooms. Do we get a lot of non-residents renting the facilities?
Enough, yes, yeah. I mean, it's predominantly resident, but we do see some non-resident ones. I mean, I could look at that and see, but we don't. Like I said, it's mostly families. We don't see a lot of nonprofits or commercial business ones.
I think most people know too, if they're in a larger group, you find the resident.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's cheaper, yeah.
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 I guess my thought is to just leave them the way they are. If we haven't, if nobody's complained and we haven't seen a decrease in the rental at Yellow Banks, even though there isn't a bathroom facility, I think I would just leave it alone rather than decreasing it. Just leave them all the same.
Yeah, our two most popular parks for shelters is Mockmiller and Kennedy. Mockmuir's surpassed Kennedy by far. It's just, I don't know, if people like the remoteness, you know, because it does feel like there's not a lot around.
Yeah.
It's privacy, you get privacy, you know, and it's a large park. And because it's the newest park, you know, the shelter's newer than all the rest of them, you know, restroom facilities newer. So the facilities are, you know, not as old. Kennedy, I think, has dropped off because the things are so old. Shelters was built in
Right.
'76.
Right.
The restrooms were built too, and then they were added on when the ADA guidelines came in online. It was added on the handicap stalls. So.
I don't do. I know we discussed this before, but what we're at current pricing, it's not like we're taking a big loss or we're taking a loss and cleaning up or.
No, I mean, well, we did talk about that. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, we do go there 2 times.
Right.
Once is most of the time, like Fridays are normal garbage run where we
Yeah.
hit all the parks anyways.
Right.
But if we do have a rental Saturday, we will come back in Saturday and make sure it's still clean and stocked. And then, of course, we have to clean it up either Sunday or we clean it up Monday on our next regular garbage run. Because we do clean restrooms and stock them every Monday and Friday regardless.
Yeah.
So
after seeing these prices, I'm like, if we probably should just leave them the same. I think we're in line with the other communities around.
Good.
I mean, it's a good checkpoint to check and make sure that you are aligned with the communities. So, I don't know, I think we are.
So if you're not proposing any changes, you wouldn't have to even make a motion.
We wouldn't
on
even
that.
need a motion.
No,
No,
as long as everybody that's here is in agreement with
yeah.
staying with the current.
I'm okay staying current.
So am I.
Okay. Everyone else?
Yep, me too.
All right,
Okay.
so now field rentals. Broke it down to the 2 that were discussed at the last meeting, because I again gave you multiple different options. So just basically covered DeForest and Wisconsin Rapids. Similar facilities. And the prices are, you know, sanctioned for DeForest, $40, or sanctioned, no charge for practice, $40 for a game. And then non-sanctioned practice, 75 and 125 for games. Wisconsin Rapids has in-district nonprofit and out-of-district for-profit. So they do have an hourly rate, they have 4 hours, and then they have full days. So if it's in-district nonprofit, it'd be $150 per day, 75 for 4 hours. Out-of-district for-profit is $1,000 per day, 500 for 4 hours, or $150 an hour. Our current rates are 40 for a half day, 60 for a full day, $250 for a 5-day week per field diamond, and then Weston-based youth or nonprofit groups are no charge. So the reason we typically had the 5-day week, we had the 5-day week, it was because we had a for-profit soccer camp that used to be held at Kennedy Park. So when they were bringing in all these coaches from around the United States, and they're making money off of this camp. So
Right.
that's really when these prices were put together, was when that camp was being ran here. Now we just have a nonprofit soccer camp in July. So as far as the one other item that we talked about was field lighting. So these 2 communities in particular do not have field lighting in their prices. So we did they have a field lighting calculation online you can do. And it's literally $6 for 4 hours of our lights running. That doesn't include base charges. That's just based on the kilowatt per hour price.
Right.
So it's $6 for 4 hours. So for field lighting, you know, we would want to charge a little bit more, and that's only if we wouldn't have to attend it to turn it on for them. So if a private entity rents it and they want the field lights turned on, we're not gonna give them access to the keys. Because we're gonna have a lockbox there where the current groups will be able to go in there and get the key and turn the lights on. But if we rent it out, then somebody's gonna have to physically come in and turn them on and turn them off.
Yeah.
Because we didn't go for the, I could turn it on with my phone option, because that is available too. With the lighting we purchased, but I have no idea how much it is. I could do it from home.
So then really we need to add another category in here for the lighting.
Yeah, yeah.
At
I
minimum.
mean, if it's just straight field lighting for, you know, for 4 hours, it'd be like $10. But if you're talking, having somebody coming in to turn them on and turn them
Right.
off, we definitely have to increase the price.
Yeah,
And some of the ones we looked at were before was like $100 for field lights. I don't know if we necessarily need to go that extreme. And I don't know how many other groups will be looking to rent those fields. But as Jimmy knows, schools scramble in spring. Scramble, because they don't have turf. A lot of times they can't play. They go south and they hit the private facilities like
Mhm.
Woodside and trying to think what the other ones are. So, and then they pay, because I looked at the prices at Woodside and I was like shocked. But they're all pay to play. Everybody that plays there.
sure.
So, and our current, do you know what our current billable rate is per hour? Do you recall what it is right now?
For an hourly staff,
Yeah,
80, I think it's either 80 or 85 in the new billing structure.
I don't know if that factors in the decision, but that's what our billing rate is for other things right now. So like, if somebody would.
Has to go in and turn lights on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, granted, I'm 3 minutes away from Kennedy Park, but my staff is not. So,
Right.
you know,
And we would probably pay them a half an hour to go there and turn them on and a half an hour to go and turn them off. I mean.
yeah, and it would be
Depending on where
it would be
they live.
it would be pre-scheduled, so we wouldn't have like call-in time necessarily for it. They would know when they had to show up and when they would have to, you know,
Right,
turn them
right.
on. And, you know, if I'm available, or I can talk somebody at the pool to go in and turn them on, you know, or,
But
you know,
we can't get into the position where we charge some groups and not charge others. It would just be the charge.
yeah.
Either way, you have to allocate the staff to do it.
Yeah, we'd have to charge at least 1 hour.
Yeah, and
Labor.
I think we would charge that for, like I said, anybody that's purchasing time on the fields. We
Yeah.
already know the youth groups, based on, well, one of our next items, you know, we placed, and there's no charge for the youth, so the facilities, so
Right.
These Wisconsin Rapids, are those turf fields?
they are turf, yeah. That's why we chose those two. I talked to Michael, and most similar facilities if possible.
Okay, so we need to at least add in here, the lighting.
Great.
I think our prices are probably fair. We get $60 for a full day. I mean, the forest is turf and dirt. Is that?
They charge the same for turf or dirt.
Right.
Wow,
So I went through all the prices and I was like, really? They charge the same? You'd think they charge more for the turf.
They don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
Nobody can say they're being,
Yeah, and they can choose the field. I mean, they have all the individual fields listed out.
right,
I think there's four diamonds. I think,
for, I think.
yeah, I think it was 4.
so they actually break it out by sanctioned and non-sanctioned.
Yeah.
Would we want to do that?
So I looked at they actually have listed in there how you get sanctioned
Oh,
through them and what their policy is.
okay,
And I'm like, I don't think we necessarily need to go there. you know? The other part of it is obviously if we are renting it out, we need to factor in our prep time. Because the youth groups will take care of installing on a routine basis. If we have somebody renting it, they're gonna want us to do that.
Right.
You know, if we have to specially paint the foul lines for them, we will be doing that. So we'll be installing the bases.
Yeah.
And pulling them out. So, I mean, we talked about a reasonable rate of like $100 per game. I don't know if that's reasonable or not. If anybody has any thoughts on that, because we know that we don't get paid $85 an hour. But
Right.
our actual cost as
Our
far
cost
as
is $85.
prepping the diamond
Yeah,
and, you know, like I said, putting bases out, and if there's anything specific we have to do for that group, like, do we have to empty the garbages that day? You know, et cetera, that we wouldn't have done anyways under our normal work. So that's what we've done with other groups, is if they request anything above and beyond what we would be doing that day. So if I'm mowing the field anyways, no, but if I have to specially mow it, you know, but we wouldn't get into that. We're gonna keep it mowed, so, but. You just have to,
Dislike Wisconsin Rapids structure, and then that would fold in the lighting into it. I mean, because I understand those numbers are higher than ours, but if we did an in-district and out-of-district and use the same dollar amounts, I mean, if they're turf fields, understanding they're higher than ours, and we know what the lighting costs. And then I would suggest we take out that Weston Bates Youth or nonprofit group, because a Weston
It'll
based
be-
youth would be the district, right?
yeah, and it'll be a future agreement with them. The only thing with the out of district for profit, those prices, nobody will ever pay that, I don't believe. Because you can go pay at Athletic Park for $250 a game right now.
Well, that's one game. I mean, like.
That's one game, turf infield.
Yeah, Rapids does get, private entities that'll rent out their fields and hold tournaments there that are definitely for-profit tournaments where you're paying a couple $100 more to
So
enter that
it's
tournament.
your club team tournaments, right?
Probably more so, yeah.
I mean, cause. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I could be way off base on that, but that was just my thought was, I mean, I looked at the athletic park prices, but they were subject to change in 26 due to the turf installation from last year. So they were still under their old prices. They may have increased that quite a bit right now.
Yeah, and it's a different thing, right? Like you'd rent an athletic park for that one fun game that you want to play. You're not renting it to hold a tournament all weekend to.
Yeah, and their prices change if you want concessions, and then they get a portion of the concession sales. And then if you're selling tickets, they get a portion of ticket sales too. Yeah, that's the park. So.
Maybe makes up the difference of charging just the $250 for.
Yeah. So they're making something off of it.
yeah,
Multiple different ways.
multiple different ways, right.
And I can't imagine you'd have the lights on for more than 4 hours, because it's gonna be light till, 6 o'clock in the early season.
Right.
And it's gonna be light till 9 o'clock, and we would ask them to stop at midnight, right, like at some point. So I can't imagine there would be times when you'd have it for more than 4 hours, you'd have lights on.
Yeah, so like I said, just a price if somebody has to come in and turn them on and shut them off. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
You
but
know.
maybe we just roll that in and say that's part of the service with the fee. that you
oh
pay, I
yeah,
guess.
so like the 150,
It includes it all,
Yeah,
regardless of whether you're using the lights or not.
Yeah,
yeah,
we offer the amenity.
so is 75 enough for a game? I mean, Michael, what do you think?
Well, I guess I'm not sure which number you're looking at.
So the Wisconsin Rapids in district nonprofit, so that
Yeah.
would be, so. DC Everest
Yeah.
School District.
So yeah, I guess that'd be essentially $75 a game that you'd be. I mean, they've paid 0 for the last few years, so.
And if we wanted to make it 85, so it matched the hourly.
Yeah, it is 80. I was off. It's
Okay,
80.
80.
It went from 75 to 80.
And if it's in district DC Everest, we wouldn't have to go turn lights on for them because we know the athletic directors and we work with them all the time, so they would access the keys to turn the lights on and off too. So it's just for those other ones where, you know, if Wausau wants to rent it, then somebody's gonna have to come in. Otherwise, the lights will be going on and off every night.
So we would be moving, talking that and rolling it all into the lights and everything, the half day or the half day. We would, the 4 hours, we would make 75. We would kind of match.
Or like Jamie just suggested, we up it to 85 to match, or 80,
80,
our hourly rate.
and then a full day.
Because we have at least 2 employees that would have an hour just driving there and back. More than that,
One.
for one of them, yeah.
Okay.
One drives 40 minutes each way.
I would have no issues doing that. Do you think we're gonna lose business then?
At 80?
Yeah,
No,
I don't think so either.
no. $80.
Are we doing? Sorry,
ahead.
Sean, are we doing field prep? Like for the district? I know we don't really do the prep for our youth groups. But
So-
are we talking two different things here? Like, would Everest need us to do any prep, or are they just we're getting the $85 or $80 for the 4 hours or whatever, versus a totally independent group coming in where we need to do the bases and the chalking and stuff like that?
So that's probably something that should be brought up too. So if they are going for the turf fields, there wouldn't be infield prep. It would be just literally putting the bases in. Foul lines, we typically paint already every 2 weeks, so those would be done. But we would have field prep if they use any of our 3 dirt fields, which we already know they are used for some games. We've seen the schedule. So the dirt infields, we would need to prep. We would install the bases. They usually come and take care of the chalking, the school does. But there's definitely more costs involved for the village if we are prepping the dirt infields. So there may be two different rates we should have it. And maybe now that I think about it, maybe I understand why DeForest charges the same for turf and dirt, because there is prep work.
Sure.
It seems odd to charge more for a dirt game, but actual time prep in it is definitely more.
It's more work.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're sanctioned and they're sanctioned. It's probably people actually prep it themselves.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
They probably come in and paint the lines and put the bases down, and non-sanctioned, they're out there doing everything.
Right.
Yeah. And the other part that's a little bit different is Wisconsin Rapids, it's all on school property, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. It's not in a park system. And DeForest is a weird setup too.
Yeah, that's set up different.
Yeah, it's,
So this was just the quadplex from Rapid, so it wasn't the Kellner Fields, right?
no.
But does the school district take care of them then? Or does the Parks Department?
Or it's school district.
Okay. Is that where the river rafters play? Or is that separate?
They're at Whitterfield.
They're, okay. Which is also part of the school district, I think?
I believe so.
So 80 for 4 hours.
Well, I hear Sean saying that maybe doesn't match our cost on the dirt fields if we wanted to have them be charged at the same rate, or we make 2 separate rates. One
Right.
for turf and one for non-turf.
My suggestion would be to up it to at least 100 for the 4 hours. And knowing a game will not run 4 hours typically,
Right.
but I mean, we can take a look at it again after you know, this season, and I mean, this is something that we'll be looking at with our fee schedule every year anyways, as far as costs, but,
It does, if you did a 25 for 1 hour though, and you did 100 for 4 hours, and you did 200 for a day, which would, you know, be 8, I don't know, like you're equating it.
yeah, to
Yeah.
an even dollar amount, 25 an hour. That way if somebody just wanted it for an hour for a football game, or, you know,
That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Although if they're just there for an hour, you still have to prep that field.
yeah, the dirt ones.
Yeah, the dirt ones.
But we, as of right now, we only know if anybody from an outside entity, they're gonna go for the turf fields.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're
Right.
not gonna go for the dirt ones.
No.
I mean, we see usually a kickball game a year on the dirt infields besides the youth playing on them. And then, but we do have the school district utilizing the big diamond for 8th grade and JV, right? So,
You could just put, if you rent it if you rent less than 4 hours, there's no prep. You could do that too. You have to do your own setup if you rent for less than a 4-hour time. Cause if they're renting, maybe just they have practice out there or something, or for a kickball game, maybe
They don't even care about the lines.
Yeah.
no, most of the time they just show up. I mean, the group that we have annually is from Green Hack, and they bring their own bases. They just ask that the bathrooms be unlocked. Cause they come in October typically, so. They have a very fun kickball game if you ever want to see something crazy. You have to run with something in your hand.
So if we just went across the board, $25 per hour,
Yeah,
with the exception of anything less than 4 hours, has to pay if they want the prep, they would have to pay
The 4-hour fee.
4-hour fee.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good place to start. And like you said, we can always review it at the end of the year, see where we're at, and if we need to make any adjustments for next year. I think that's fair.
right.
So we're gonna be 25, 100, 150,
25, 100, 200.
200.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyone want to make a motion? They can summarize that?
And then is there out of district rate, or are we accepting their out of district rate? So we'd have in district what we just talked about, and out of district the same as Rapids?
I think so.
Yeah, if we had those that were out of district or for-profit tournaments with
Right,
those higher dollar amounts. So a potential.
Yeah, we would want to keep an in district and an out of, we would want an out of district.
Yes, what's the definition of a nonprofit? Is that like a school district, a community-based league, or?
I think you would have to be either a 501c3, a 501c6, or a tax exempt entity.
And you can find all that on multiple different websites for the state of Wisconsin. I don't remember which one it is though, offhand, but I have looked them up before, because it literally lists every nonprofit in the state of Wisconsin. Like I said, we don't know at this point we don't know if there's gonna be people that
want it or not.
want it or not, yeah. It's new to us, but it's, you know, there's tons of other ones around, you know. And I don't know how much outside rentals they do on their turf fields to groups outside of like their district, you know.
Yeah, like, so Rapids put it out of district for profit. What do they charge an out of district nonprofit?
Good question.
Because they have in-district nonprofit, but they don't have an out-of-district nonprofit.
Yeah, that's all they had was those two.
So I'm assuming that if it's out of district, it's out of district.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's for-profit or nonprofit, I'm assuming.
I think maybe I'm reading it wrong. They might have meant that if you're out of district or you're a for-profit entity, then you get charged this. But if you're in
Or I
district,
made a type error.
what I mean?
I'm just saying, I could have,
Or for profit, because that kind of makes sense to me, then if you're a for-profit, even though you're in the district. But I'm holding the game and I'm charging everyone $500 to
yeah,
play on the field, you're playing for-profit.
yeah.
So you're a district but you're for-profit, we should charge you the higher rate.
And
But
we-
if you're a
and-
nonprofit.
Yes, and we do have enough club teams in the area, travel teams, that are looking for facilities to use. So, I don't know if that will amount to anything or not, but we know they're out there. I don't know how many there are, but Weston's got a couple. We got the Impact, Clutch, Northwoods. There's enough out there that they don't have their own parks department or parks, fields, stuff like that. So they're looking for playing time and they're looking for places to play.
So it would be in district / nonprofit,
Yep.
25, 100, 200, out of district / profit, 150, 500, and 1,000. Recommended for 2026 season, and we'll reevaluate it after the season.
Yeah, write that down again.
You could say so moved.
So moved.
I second.
Then you just wanna repeat that. Was the motion made by?
Motion made by Kern, second by Clark. Any questions on the motion? No questions? All right. All in favor?
I
All against? Motion passes. All right. Do that one. On to number 8, discussion and/or possible action draft user agreement. Let's see. Got it now.
So there's some changes made from, well, it's a combination of 3 separate agreements that we looked at. This is the last one we looked at, and some of the dates specifically, as far as, how long the agreement goes, and when it will expire, because we won't want them coming in May and saying, yeah, we're not using it this year. I think it was previously May 1st, so we changed that to October 1st. As far as when the agreement could be, when they could get out of it. So, so it's October 1st. Effective fund date, and it will not be longer than 10 years. Reviewed annually, and if they wish to terminate the agreement, they have a 1 year, 1 year notice shall be provided.
So they need to notify us by October 1st.
If they notified us by October 1st, then it would expire the following October 1st.
Okay.
Really what the user agreement has in it is the structure that they will book the fields, which we will use our Sportsman software. It's been a little while, but we did a demo of that Sportsman software here for the Parks Committee. That's how we book our shelters and all of our items here within the Parks Department. So signing this agreement allows the user groups to, after the village is first priority, to go into Sportsman and to coordinate what their schedules look like for the year. So we know when we can rent the field, and in turn, they do that upkeep, like we talked about with the field. They take care of that care and upkeep.
Yeah, and they're responsible for discussing their tournament weekends. And I know they worked that out for this year already. So and I think youth baseball's down to 2 the tournaments this year, and softball's holding 1 in July, I believe there's so. And then it's the responsibilities, lays out the responsibilities for both groups as far as, you know, maintaining the fields, et cetera. Youth and the village responsibilities. Clean up, not the village sponsored a fee, or we will be assessed for cleanup and it will be payable to the Parks Department. But if it becomes necessary to had to do that after an event, you know, because right now, when they hold their tournaments, typically they're stocking the bathrooms, they're emptying the garbage into the dumpsters, you know. But if they, for some reason, wouldn't have the volunteers to do that, they couldn't run the tournament anyways, because it's a lot of work for 2.5 days of games. So,
This is kind of how it works now, essentially, but we're putting this into a more formal process.
It's a formal document.
Yes. Allows us to have better connection with the groups because they're letting us know who that
Right.
contact is and a communication point. So
So we need to take a motion on accepting approving this draft user agreement.
yeah, and the only thing is we did get a comment in public comment on the term of the agreement. If you wanted to bring that into your thoughts on it. As you heard, we got a public comment on it,
Yeah.
so.
I think from staff perspective, we were comfortable with the 10 years because again, it's sort of just formalizing what has been practiced for a long time. And with the long-term goals of Kennedy Park and the expansion there, 2 of these groups, the 2 that are listed in here are part of the Friends group that continue with the fundraising.
And the other thing that was brought up, if you recall, was their boards could change entirely next year. And they might say, we want out.
Right.
So they don't have that much transition. The boards do stay somewhat stable, or you just move to a different position, you know, but you know, priorities change. I mean, I've seen it. It's like every time a completely new board would come on, it would be like, well, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna change it. So we thought some stability where we have this 10-year agreement.
Yeah, it gives us stability.
And then they plan on using those fields for at least 10 years, but you know, someone builds a new complex, 10 fields, and then all of a sudden they're all gone. They all leave. I mean, we've seen it with soccer. We used to be the varsity and JV fields for DC Everest. Although they built the middle school complex, they moved off our fields. You know, MC United, Wausau area soccer, they were all on our fields. We were painting fields every week. They're not on our fields anymore. They moved off and they're at the People's State Bank complex up in Wausau. And they utilize, I think they may utilize some of the middle school, but I'm not sure. But then you have youth soccer out there. So uses change. And you don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, like you said, somebody comes in and they build a Woodside, you know, with all turf fields and pay to play. I mean, you don't know. So
Right.
just some stability for the village as far as we're putting these fields in, we know they're gonna get used for at least 10 years.
I mean, I think that helps the village too, because if we do a year by year and there's no agreement, and I guess I don't know what the out is here, but you know, if we're putting investment into a park and we don't have an agreement that says these groups are gonna be using it for a year or for the next 10 years, they potentially could say, hey, we're gonna go to Corona Water next year and you guys will have an empty fields. So I think it helps both sides to have that agreement, so.
And at least this gives us a year. So if they did decide, we'd have a year to prepare, to plan and change budgets if that's what happened.
Yeah.
I agree with all of that, but I think the wording for me feels clunky in that it says it will not be longer than 10 years. Can we make it, I mean, should we make it say that it would be for 10 years? Rather, the not longer than 10 years to me means it could be anywhere from 1 to 10.
That could be changed.
Yeah.
It feels,
Be
I don't
for
know, weird written that way. That would be
Then
maybe,
it will be a 10-year agreement.
Right.
yeah.
And I think longer than 10 years was the thought that either way we revisit it in the 10 and then the auto renew, but we can make it so that it's just 10 years. Then we also know we revisit it at 9, right? Like it'll end at 10.
Well, even if you
Yeah.
review it annually, you can keep renewing a 10-year contract every
Yes.
year. It's like, but the football coaches and stuff like that, they get their contracts extended every year and they still have a 7-year contract or whatever it is.
So 10 years.
Yeah, they do an
10-year
annual,
conversion into
they do an
20.
annual review.
Yeah.
My other thought was, is there any mechanism, like who decides that the fields are open for use in the spring or not? Like, do we need to call that out where the village determines when the fields are ready for use based on weather? Or if there's a weather event that we think would damage the fields if they were used?
I think those are good points that we can
That's a
include.
very good point.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I know other organizations do that. City of Wausau, Marathon County Parks, they dictate when the People's State Bank soccer fields can be open. So typically, they are looking for soccer fields in April because Wausau will not let them play on their fields in May. So, I mean, if it was all artificial turf, then there wouldn't be any concern for those fields, but with the grass outfield, definitely, would need that, so,
And this would still need to go to board
yeah.
in
So
March, so we could make those changes for board.
Yeah, we can make the changes based on the discussion.
Right,
And
yeah,
incorporate it for the board.
for the board.
Yeah.
I have one other thing it says item number 6 on the agreement, B, and then the triple I. At the end of that, it says exhibit A, but there is no exhibit A.
We need to attach that. I had asked Sean to include that because I think
Oh.
sometimes we think that people know what it should look like when it's all done. And so we'll take pictures this spring to show this is what it should look like when it's put back together or when it's in.
Got it.
And then we'll attach that as A.
Okay.
I could have shared that in the RFC. Jamie and I discussed it when we were reviewing the user agreement. So I had taken it out too. I'm like, I don't have an exhibit A.
I feel the parent that's gonna be like, you're in charge, and they're gonna be like, of what?
Yes. My only other thought was, do we want to call it something other than the Kennedy Park field agreement? Because we're including the other baseball fields that are available. Do we just want to make it more generic? I don't know if it matters, but that was just a thought.
Just Village West Field Maintenance.
Yep,
Or,
yep.
Yeah.
yeah, baseball/softball field maintenance and use agreement.
Yeah.
Because it's not a soccer field.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
So we'll want the motion to incorporate changes discussed.
Yeah. And right now we have changing the Kennedy Park Field Maintenance to baseball, softball, field maintenance and use agreement. Make sure the 10-year agreement is not up to 10 years. And then put a little line item in there, basically stating that the village will determine when the fields will be open for use or allowed to be used, or
Something like the village reserves the right to deem fields unplayable or something like that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to recommend the user draft agreements with the changes Sean just noted.
I'll second it.
Motion by Clark, second by Esker. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, the motion passes. Number 9, discussion and/or possible action, Yellow Bank is golf course.
Yes, so we've been talking about this briefly at multiple meetings recently, but initially this whole process started back in 2023, when we had Weston area disc golf enthusiasts come in with a proposal, which is attached from that they provided us, that kind of laid out what the village was responsible for and what they were responsible for. The item that came out of that meeting that was discussed was that some of the improvements that were proposed, we needed to be able to provide a wetland delineation for the area, because there's a lot of wet areas in there. So we had the delineation completed that would allow us to draft or propose the improvements there. We were very fortunate that it was a very dry year, but it's been coming up on 3 years since we had it completed, and they're good for 5 years. Progress on the course has been slow. Of course, we talked last year and we talked about doing crossings on the pipeline, and that's been a back and forth thing with TC Energies because
Information today, we can move ahead with the temporary.
so Jess did receive confirmation from TC Energies today that we can move forward with the temporary installations that they had originally drafted for us, as far as the mats in some locations and then the mats with soil in other locations. The other part was there was some mix up as far as, we were looking for like permanent crossings. So, cover the pipe, make it deep enough so we cross it with equipment. But there was, they don't want us to cross the pipe in that many locations either. But we're not gonna be crossing them every day or every week. This is really for us to be able to get in there, do the improvements, do the tree removal, do the brushing, and then maybe have to go in there and do some tree removal once a year and some brushing. But the proposed improvements were also to make it easier for us to maintain. So we found the areas where we can like add fill, not in wetlands areas. So we've definitely been at not moving forward with it. We haven't made a lot of progress. And I hate to say we've had other projects, but with Kennedy Park this past year, the launch, 7 playgrounds the year before, our capacity has dropped down a little bit because we have these big projects that we're working on. Fortunately, this year unfortunately, I say this year's going to be busy too. I mean, we have the Yellow Banks restoration. We have Schofield Avenue landscape install. Of course, we still have all our day-to-day operations, and we added 2 more fields to the park. So, but we definitely want to move forward with it. That was one of the ideas of why there's restrooms in the well house there. So there's public restrooms to serve the disc golf course. And the committee at that time was committed to keeping the course there and doing the improvements. But we need to talk over the way it was stated, Katrina, was where we are now and where we've been and where we're going with the course, because we have not really made much progress in the 2+ years since Weston area disc golf was in here. I know Roger was around for those meetings, and that course has been a challenge for us for the whole time. And Weston area disc golf as a volunteer organization, Basically 2 to 3 times a year would come in and do all the brushing, all the thorny brushing with small equipment. But as their membership changes, they don't have the volunteer labor that they had then. And it's really came back to us that we're to keep it maintained and playable. We're gonna have to maintain it more than we currently do. We would cut and remove trees. We mow it weekly, usually weekly, bi-weekly. We empty the garbage, we do maintain it, but the thorny brush is the biggest challenge down there. And then the uneven terrain. So there's areas that the tee boxes need fill, or they need some support around them. And if you get a chance to read their proposal, they did lay it out on what they would like to see done as far as putting timbers around, make sure it holds all the material in place so it doesn't wash away. We do have some rubber tee pads down there, but we have some that are just straight dirt too. So. And I know this is your item, Katrina, that we discussed last month. But yeah, we definitely know that we have not made the progress that we would have liked to see done with it today. So I also did include the minutes from that meeting so you can see some of the discussion that took place at that meeting, besides what was in the packet. So if you look at the minutes from March 23rd, I believe it is, item number 7, it goes over, it's probably well over a page of discussion on the course.
I apologize, John, but the disc golf enthusiast would still be willing to do pieces of this. They might just have less people, maybe because they're a volunteer group, depending on membership, but they still would be willing to.
Yeah, and that's part of why we brought their proposal back, was we probably need to meet with them and go over their expectations and our expectations from
Right, because
from
you
what it
can't,
was.
yeah, I know what you're saying. They can't guarantee that they're going to do it every year. So
Yeah.
we may have to pick it up.
Yeah, and
So we should plan to pick it up every year, even if we do or don't.
yeah, and
You're gonna go in there
once some of the improvements that were proposed are completed, it'll be easier to maintain too. Like we may be able to go in there with a piece of equipment and mow other areas of it. Because if you keep maintaining it, or if we start treating some of the thorny brush,
It's the only way you're gonna get rid of it.
yeah. And we've been treating stuff with Toradon for a few years now, because Toradon is a chemical that was used for killing it down to the roots, because usually when you cut any of those,
they come back more.
yeah, you can cut them off flush to the
They tear 'em
ground and.
I know,
Yeah.
I pull them out with my hands.
Yeah. And we're fortunate we have somebody on staff that actually did that. He actually did invasive removals for a company prior to working for the village. And he's the one that's been doing all the treatment for us as far as some of the other invasive species we have in the village.
At this moment, none of the baskets or anything have been changed out.
No.
We did change 3 of them out that we had.
Yeah, so we did replace 3 of the baskets. We didn't have any painted or sandblasted, but we had 3 that had been removed from Mockmuller and were sitting in storage. So we replaced the 3 worst ones out at Yellowbanks, and then brought 2 of them back. We have 2 of them torn apart, 3 of them. 3 of them in there.
3.
Yeah, so we have them in our shop back here. We took them apart because all the chains have to be removed. And then got a proposal from Chris Finishing for refinishing them. And then we're going back and forth. Like the color, they didn't know if they could get the color that was proposed for doing them. And like I said, we moved on to other projects that had a higher priority.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Sean. This is by far not our most important um project, going on. And I do think if we can get those mats installed and we can do some of this maintenance work, it will move other things along. The disc golfers will be more likely to engage with us again, if we can keep up with the maintenance, and if we can brush hog some of this stuff, and then stay on top of it. I think the overall maintenance, once it's under control, gets much easier and much less. It's just the initial outlay
Yeah,
of,
I think you are correct. The group will definitely be more invested if they see us helping and doing more. So, and
yeah,
now that we received approval to put in the temporaries, and if the weather stays cold, I don't know if we'll get down there in the spring or not,
Just
but
tentatively talking, I haven't talked with Forrest yet, but just tentatively talking to other staff. We're trying to get the ash trees removed as much as we can down on the Eau Claire River Trail.
Yeah.
And then we can at least get the mats in probably after that and then go from there.
And once the mats are in, then the maintenance becomes easier.
yeah.
To take the
Well,
equipment in.
so for the most part, when our route right now to get in there is just one route.
Right,
And we take the truck in there and you drive between the two pipelines. So
okay.
when you're going down into the park,
Mhm.
to get to any of the holes, you have to cross the pipeline.
Yeah,
So we don't have approval for any equipment to cross those pipelines besides the truck that we run down. And that's it.
yeah.
And you have to cross the pipeline when you go up the hill to get between the two pipelines. And then you drive down between the two. So it's a challenging site. I mean, if we had access from each side and we didn't have to cross the pipeline, then it wouldn't be quite as bad, but we don't have access because it's too steep. We have the river on the north side, so. Did you have any more, Katrina?
no, like I said, I'm just excited to get that access in there. And then I think as we have time and can make it a priority, we can do more work down there, and the project will come together. Um, Not necessarily all this year, but if we get the mats in, and then we can make a start, then we can we can even potentially meet with the group over winter and clarify some of their plans or what they would like to see, and then have a working plan going forward for next year, where we can coordinate our efforts.
We wouldn't need a motion on.
We wouldn't need any motions on this, so, okay. Any more discussion on the golf course? Nope. Okay, let's move on to new business. Number 10. Discussion under possible action on purchase of new mower.
So we did receive two quotes. I included the original notice and request for quotes that was sent out to two different vendors. One is Horse Distributing. They have Jacobson brand, and then Reinders, which carries the Toro brand commercial mowers. Currently our fleet, it's two Toros and two Jacobsons. And the Jacobsons, typically when we put these out for proposals, they come in at a lower price. This one's got quite a few more hours than our last one did. We definitely are using it more since we purchased this one, because our last one only had 1,400 hours on it after 10 years. This one has 2,100 hours. So we put an additional 700 hours on a mower that we had one same before, similar, same 11-foot cut, but we put a lot more hours on it now. We're using it a lot more, but since 2007 is when Mock Miller came online, we increased our mowing a lot. We've
Sure.
constantly been increasing our mowing, and we were doing Everything prior to 2006 or 2007, we were doing with 6-foot decks. And then we went to a 11-foot rotary plus 2 6-foots. So, so we just received 2 proposals. I did request a trade-in value from both of them. And it's not, so you understand, we don't have to trade it in.
Right.
We had already talked that we could put it out on surplus auction and put a minimum on it, and as long as we're trying, if there's a certain value we're trying to get out of it. And as far as recommendation, unfortunately, the getting a mower has become easier than it was 5, 6 years ago. So our last mower purchase that we proposed, if we ordered it in January, we would see it in October of that year. So if you're trying to get one for the current season, you could never get it. I checked availability on both of these. Toro's 3 months out, so if it is purchased, we would have it for the mowing season. And the Jacobson they have in stock. The other thing you'll see is when I did put the request out there, I knew there was some old stock available. So if you see, I requested quotes for 2024 or newer.
Or newer, yeah.
Because the last one we purchased was actually a demo model, so we saved some money on it. So I was looking for, and it states in there that we would look at demo models because I think it had 60 hours on it. I looked through all this obviously when I was prepping the packet. But why not look at it? If you can save a few $1,000s and buy a year older one that has no hours on it, why would you not do that? I mean, you're still gonna get the same 2-year warranty and etc. So, but these are 2026 models. Both of them would be. But when I was looking through their inventory, they do have some older ones. They must want to sell us a brand. Some older new ones. So, and as far as, you know, our current mower, we have been seeing a bunch of issues. We have a valve in the front that keeps coming loose, dumping hydraulic oil on it. Hydraulic lines obviously age, O-rings age, hydraulic leaks are pretty extensive. And we've been fortunate because when we first got this mower, we were having a lot of problems with the regen. So, you know, like, you know, with the regeneration of the cleaning the filters,
Yeah.
we had multiple shutdowns in the first year, and now we've been running and we have not had any park regens. But we have some stuff
out of there.
starting issues, battery issues. Most recently, yeah. If you went out there to try to start it right now, you might get started, might not. We also lost it. It was down for 3 months. We lost, or 2 months. Yeah, 2 months. We lost it from August to October a couple of years ago because of a switch that they had to manufacture. So the other part that happened is in 2000 and I don't remember what year it was exactly, but Jacobson Manufacturing moved from North Carolina back to Ipswich, England. So when you need parts, they literally had to manufacture that switch for us in England. And that's when we got it. So they moved their headquarters back to England. They're being made in a Ransom's factory, which is another brand mower over there. So everything comes from overseas. I mean, we do have a distributor here in Chilton, Wisconsin, where we get parts, and they do have a good selection of parts. But switching from an R311 to an HR600, I already did the comparisons. As far as previous one, we had an HR5111 and we went to R311. Well, we were able to reuse the casters, the wheels, the blades, a lot of stuff matches.
Right.
Guess what? With their new model,
Nothing
I
matches.
can't keep nothing. All the blades, everything's gonna go with whoever the buyer is, or, you know, if we trade it in or whatever. So, we're actually leaning a little bit more towards the floral. Still manufactured close. They have a service department in Appleton, and they have one in Sussex, Wisconsin, Reiners does. So that's where we get our parts from for them. So, we know it is more expensive. You understand this is just a quote, though, we didn't take bids on it, so we don't have to accept the lowest bid. But because it is a Toro dealer, as you see, their trade-in value is like $8,000, and the other one, trade-in value is 18,000.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to give you what we've been discussing and the work we put into it. I
But you're
think
comfortable with either?
we would be comfortable with either, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Do you
yes.
think that you would get more than 18,000 on surplus if you went with that quote? 'Cause I feel like that's a-
Don't think so.
Yeah, a very
No,
fair trade.
I literally looked, did a search, I think there's 8 that come up right now online, R311s. And we were thinking between 20 and 25, but in the auction, you're not guaranteed. We could put it out there, we could put a reserve on it,
Right.
but then we might not sell it too. So, yeah, and then after talking with the dealers, I also searched the reviews and the problems with each model. Because last time we last time we demoed either one of these, well, and we've never demoed the current HR 600 through Jacobson, but we have demoed the 4100D through Toro. Last time we did it was 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, so. And we have our 2 Toros that we run. Well, I shouldn't say they're bulletproof anymore. We lost one this year that we have to sell on auction, but we have a 2001 Toro that the transmission failed on us now, though. It still works, but it started leaking, and we've replaced the seals and it's leaking. Actually worse now than what it was before that. So
Okay, let's make this decision first.
yeah. So I'm just stating, we run 2 Toros and 2 Jacobsons right now.
Okay, so we're just looking for a motion, we're looking for a motion to move forward with the accepting. Right.
Accepting one of them,
Recommendation to
a
the board.
recommendation, and if you're, think we should trade it in or not trade it in, or if we should sell it at auction.
I guess, Sean, I'd like you to explore more, getting a model, the previous year's model, and how much that would potentially save us if they have, I think you said one of them has a previous year's model in stock. Of course, any dealership wants to sell you this year's model.
Yeah, the other thing with that one is, though, I just did an online search through their inventory, so they may not actually even have it. They may not have one of the older models. It says that they have it in stock on their website, doesn't mean I didn't talk to them and
You didn't
verify that
physically
they had
talk
it.
to them.
And that was the horse distributing for the Jacobson. Like I said, I looked through their websites and their inventories, and like I said, can't say for sure that it's accurate what was on their website. I didn't ask them after they sent the quote. They just sent the quote for the 2026 model.
So the higher price is the 2026, but you could possibly go in and get a 2025 model and get it.
I could ask, I could
Or a
ask,
couple thousand cheaper.
I could ask and see if they actually have one in stock. Yes.
At Public Works, they'll often do an up to, that they would do an approval
Yeah.
and an up to amount, just in case this model would be available.
In case it was,
Yeah.
in case it already sold, we don't know from day to day.
Right, because I already had one of them contact me already on Friday, I think was worried about if we don't move forward soon, that it may be a little while before we get one. I mean,
And then,
they said both said it's way better than it was. I mean, because we were on a 10-month waiting schedule before,
Right.
but
okay. So we should move forward pretty quickly on this. Would we be okay? I would. 18,000 for trading is pretty good in my mind.
yeah, well, I look back to see what we sold the one for
Most of the time, yeah.
in 16, because that one we did sell through the auction, and we got like 16,000 for it.
Okay.
But that's when the mowers were 55,000, now they're 90 plus thousand. That's how much the prices have changed
Right.
Yeah.
in 10 years. So like Jamie said, you could make a recommendation to spend up to the top dollar amount. And then if we can get a cheaper one, then it would be, you know, if they have an older model year, new one in stock, you might get some off of it, but it would be at up to $2.
And this would still have to go through the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
That's-
comfortable with that, Katrina, or not?
Um,
Two, the 90, the Toros is pretty pricey.
I, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard because I think that the 18,000 sounds like a pretty decent trade-in.
Yeah.
Would really like to know what the difference is in last year's model if they have something sitting on the floor. But I guess we can word a motion, you know, that way to pursue last year's model if available.
That might, the other part of that though, it might adjust our trade-in value if we go to something that's cheaper.
Right,
May adjust our trade-in value.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever bought a vehicle,
Yeah.
the more expensive vehicle you buy, the better your trade is. The cheaper it is, your trade value goes down. They just
Yeah.
do the math, but
I mean, Michael, you've had a lot of your vehicles up on the auction site. What's your opinion on the likelihood of selling this mower on the auction site for more than 18 grand?
I guess I really don't know the mower market, but I guess it's kind of to Sean's point, you know, did they, you know, kind of inflate a trade-in number just to make it more enticing for an overall cost, or is it truly worth 18,000, or is the Toro number more realistic of what we'd get selling it? I guess I don't know that off the top of my head, but
yeah, I mean, because literally it's the trade that's,
yeah, I mean,
because they're only $3,000 apart without a trade. One's 99, the other one's one's 96 and the other one's 93. So it's literally $3,000.
Right.
You factor in the additional 10,000 in trade.
Right.
yeah,
So, and of course, when I looked it up online, this is what they're asking.
Right,
I don't know what they sold for, so.
Right, yeah.
Our last one went to a school district in Wisconsin. I know that.
And Sean, what did you say your preference was brand wise? Do you have one really?
Either one will do the job. Like I said, when I searched reviews, there's common problems for both of them. I couldn't find anything that would literally stick out that much. But yeah, they all have problems.
Mm-hmm.
You run any type of equipment, it's gonna have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad to see that it's not John Deere because we have John Deere we've had and getting parts is beyond impossible. So if you think either one of these is acceptable in getting parts, I guess if we went with the
Yeah,
same
like I said,
brand, I guess I would
Yeah,
do the trade-in with that same brand because it's a higher trade-in. But if we go with a Toro, then I would vote to put the mower out on the auction site because I think we could get more than 8 grand for it.
yeah. My recommendation would never been to take the $8,000 trade that we would have put it up for auction. So.
So would we just say we're gonna have a motion to spend up to?
Probably want to select which price quote you're gonna go with and then do an up to. And your up to could include trade-in or could not include trade-in. So you could say the 2026 Jacobson and an overall cost not to exceed $94,000 with a trade-in. If you didn't include trade-in in the motion, it would likely be assumed it would go to surplus.
Yeah.
Michael, what did we put in the capital plan for this mower?
75, I think.
Seventy-
75 or 85? I looked at too many numbers to remember exactly, but it's either 75 or 85.
So, and while you're looking for that, that brings up another question. How do we, I know this in here, it says that it's meant to be replaced every 10 years. But you just said that the last mower we had only 1,400 hours on it in those 10 years. So what are the other dynamics we're using to determine when a mower gets replaced, other than the hours?
Most of the time it's like, because of the type of mower it is, the maintenance increases obviously as it ages. So our smaller mowers are 20-year mowers typically, but the big
Mhm.
ones, because they are used so much basically to reduce our labor, that we do see a lot more problems with it because we are using it that much more. So it's based on, the capital equipment replacement. It's a piece of equipment that goes 10 years. Our trucks are like 20 years. This stuff has been determined that life expectancy, and you don't want it to not have a value either when you're done with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's only worth 18 now. What's gonna happen if we spent 62 on that one, I think we paid for it. If we held on to it for another couple of years, would it be worth even 10? I don't know. And now you're buying a
Right.
$90,000+ machine, and 10 years from now, if it's worth 15 grand, it's a pretty high expense, for yearly operations. But for us, it cuts our labor fuel costs by a ton. We know that, especially from 2 years ago when we were without our mower for 2 months and we had to mow with 6-footers again. And that's all we were doing was mowing.
What's the number, Michael?
75.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess to Sean's point, it was probably around 2011, 2012 when we kind of really tried to put together a regular equipment replacement plan. Because before that, it was kind of
Hodgepodge.
well, it was a hodgepodge or a wait until it dies, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
truly needed something, and all of a sudden we'd go to plow a street, or a snow event would come and we'd have 4 pieces of equipment we couldn't use because they were dead, or all of a sudden a mower would die because we used it until it was done. And now you're using less than ideal equipment to maintain everything. So we kind of came up with some kind of target times, and then as we get closer we kind of reevaluate. So whether it's a plow truck or a mower, we start looking at what's causing more maintenance. You might have a slightly younger piece of equipment, but all of a sudden has a hydraulic issue, or it has some problem with it that you're going to replace maybe a 1 or 2 year newer piece of equipment before something else that's maybe holding its life a little better. So I think this one kind of was one where all of a sudden we started to look at, it is a critical piece where if it is down, we're, kind of doubling up mowing times on, those days. So. But
Yeah, that's fair. I was surprised it had 2,100 hours on it. I mean, I think that's a lot of hours to have on a piece of equipment. So it just made me wonder if there's I assumed that you guys took into consideration all of those things, the maintenance and how much deterioration a piece of equipment has had, and could choose to replace something sooner than the projected 10 years if it was necessary. I guess, I mean, I think that goes both ways. Um,
Yeah, the capital improvement plan is looked at every year. So like I said, we talk about those things, and if there's something that critically happens within a year and we need a different piece of equipment, we would be talking about changing it to the CIP for, to adjust for that.
okay, so I guess I would say, I'd make a motion to go forward with the Horst distributing, right? They were the ones with the Jacobson.
Yes.
Preferably for last year's model, but if not available, this year's model with the trade-in. And then do you want me to put a dollar amount on there? Not to exceed, the quote on here is $96,000.
Actually, that one's the Toro one.
That's Toro.
Oh,
The
just
Jacobson
kidding.
one's the 93,995.
Okay, then not to exceed the 94,000. How about that?
Should work.
Does
Like
or
I
does
said,
but that one didn't have
That's
the
worth.
delivery and setup.
Yeah, it is included. That is all included.
Okay.
The only thing is that Horse Distributing did not provide an actual, like, what do you call it? Not a bill of
Spec
sale,
sheet.
but but like their quote on their company letterhead. They
Yeah.
put it on the sheet that I provided where the quote is supposed to be
Right, they
provided.
put it on.
So,
They wrote it in there.
yeah, they put it on what we provided.
Sean, what is the model type of our 2016
So R311.
R3? Okay. So I'm just looking at past auctions and it's all over the board. I mean, there's, you know, a 2006 HR 5111 that,
5111, yeah, that's
5111.
before this one.
okay, that sold for 9,300 in November. So there's an HR 700 that sold for 24,000 this past winter. So, and then there's other ones that sold for, you know, 5,000. So diving into it, I guess I'm not super.
Yeah, so HR 700 and then there's a HR 800. And so basically 11-foot cut, 14 and 16.
Okay.
And
So
then
bigger.
bigger more, because the school district runs, I believe it's a HR, they have HR 600s and 700s.
I do think Katrina made a motion and I don't know if we got a second.
We
No,
did. We didn't get any second yet.
Second.
Okay.
Motion by Clark, second by Yersky. It's only two people, right? Esker, second by Esker. All those in favor?
I
Against?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, discussion under possible action on the Eagle Scout project.
so I've been in contact with a scout for a projective project. His suggestion was to construct a Gaga pit at Mockmiller Park. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gaga at all. I mean, if you had kids that were in scouts or went to the Y camp or one right over here at Weston Elementary, you
Oh,
can
okay.
see, yeah, the octagon shaped pit. It's basically kind of like dodgeball, but you're just
Friendly dodgeball.
friendly dodgeball and it's supposed to be below the waist. You're supposed to just tap it with your hand. You don't actually pick up the ball, you tap it, slap it. And we actually had a proposal quite a few years ago. Somebody else that wanted to do one and it never went through. That one was at Williams Park, actually. But I think it's a good idea. The other part about it is if we put it in place, we can move it. So say we put it in a location and then we do the Mockmiller master plan. They're like, why would you put that there? It's totally in a bad spot. We can just move it and then put some soil down and seed it and put it in a new location. So, or even if we don't see any use there, it could be moved to a different park also, where we feel like we would cater to, that age group. So I'm sure Forrest is familiar with Gaga. He's got a son the same age as mine, so. Michael's probably familiar with it, has played it. I played a lot of it, in Scouts. That's when I was really introduced to it. And then, well, Carson went to Caps tournament for 3 years. That's all he did was play Gaga every day. So, it's not a lot
Where
of
would
money for
the-
a project. And it, you know, it would serve a need in the area because we don't have one. Like I said, the elementary schools typically are the ones that have them though.
Where would the funds come from?
That would be a board question. I mean, we know we have park impact fees. We have funds available. We know we had a new subdivision out there. So we're receiving money from, what's the name of that subdivision?
Green Tree.
So we're getting park impact fees from the new subdivision out there. And that's 80 lots, 70 lots?
And it's 88.
88.
88, so times the 300, or what do we get for park impact fee? Their contribution will be like, you know, $24,000 to the park impact fee. And I actually just got an email from finance director wondering if we had any expenses for park impact fee this year. So that would probably be our suggestion would be, because the other part with park impact fee is 80%, 70%. A portion's for maintenance, a portion's for development.
Okay.
So.
So there's a portion for develop.
Yeah, so when we drew up the park impact fee, there was a designation on what percentage would be used for development and what would be used for maintenance. And then part of our requirement is that we're supposed to be when they put in a subdivision, we let them know what their park impact fee would be used for. Or not necessarily all of it, but a portion of it, whatever we're doing with the park. So last year we spent it on the roofs at Sand Hill and Mock Miller. We spent around 15,000, 16,000. So you guys don't have to make the financial decision on it. It's just a decision.
Right.
If you like, we would recommend moving forward with it to the board.
Yeah.
And if all else fails, we do have a building maintenance budget because this is not a huge expense, but that would be up to them to determine.
Within the parks budget of building maintenance.
Yeah. I said it wrong. It's in the parks budget, building maintenance, not building maintenance here.
Then it would just be here.
Yeah. Gaga pit for lunchtime.
Put it right in the middle here.
Well, I'll make a motion that we recommend the approval for the Gaga pit by the Eagle Scouts.
Second.
Motion by Kearns, second by Isker. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
No, Roger, not against.
You voted both ways. You voted yes.
Motion passes.
You voted no.
All right, future items, possible next meeting is March 23rd, 2026. I'm good, I think. Yeah. Any topics for future meetings?
Do you have any topics for future meetings that I should include? Katrina did share one with me today. Just an update on the overall expenses for the launch at Yellowbanks. But she'd like to have us review that in a few months once we have the restoration completed. We do have the financials now because Jess did submit the reimbursement claim to the DNR and we did receive the check since we updated you in January. So we did receive the $48,000 check.
Okay.
From the grant. I had given you an update in January.
Yep.
Financial that we had received all the grants except for that one, which had Jess had submitted the reimbursement claims, but we did receive that. So we could go over that project as far as full financials and our expenses on it too. So Katrina had brought that up, and if you have anything else you would.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty interesting to find out what that winds up being in the end.
Yeah, we did have that one was put out for bids and we did have a little bidder on it. And so we have a contract price. We did have a change order or two that changed the price due to extra soil removal and the well abandonment.
We can talk about it next
Yeah, we can talk about it next month. Okay. Remarks some staff.
We won't have to talk about it next month now.
month.
Any remarks from the committee members?
I have nothing.
I have none.
No.
Any announcements?
Don't forget to fill out the comp plan survey if you haven't already.
And if you're interested in the bike and ped plan,
Or transportation in general.
yeah, we do have an open house on Thursday from 5 to 7 in room 3 at Green Tech Turner.
Yep.
Hey, and I remembered that.
Mhm.
It's because we talked about it this morning.
That's Thursday.
That's Thursday from 5 to 7. If you were interested in attending, I probably would have to have just put out a notice of possible quorum.
We have it posted.
Oh, you have it posted already, so.
Yes.
But if you're interested in giving some feedback, this is the second one,
Yes.
and I mean, they'll have boards, updated boards and stuff like that. So if you're interested in volunteering for the Glow Tournament or just showing up for the Glow Tournament, it is free to come in. It starts at 4 o'clock on Saturday. So they won't charge you to come in and watch.
I got a bowling ring.
Yes.
I gotta go do bowling on
Yes.
Saturday. All right. Anything else?
The motion to,
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second.
Motion by Isker, second by Clark. Meeting's adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
5:36 PM.